Hey there, it's Kingdom Gambit, and today I played a phenomenal game of chess. It was a lot of fun. I had the white pieces, and right now I am at 1,295 elo. Let's get right into the game today. The game begins with me playing d4, opening the diagonal for my dark squared bishop, and putting a pawn in the center. He plays the England Gambit. If you've seen this gambit, hopefully this will help you with spotting some of the tactics that people play. He gambits the pawn, I take, and in this position he plays this move, and the best move is actually for me to just move out my bishop, and that helps with my development. What I play is taking, and this actually lets him develop his knight by taking the pawn. So that was not the best move. I play this move bishop to g5, pinning his knight to his queen. And he brings out his bishop, putting some pressure on the f2 square here. This was not the right move. I fall into this tactic when I play with the black pieces, when I play the King's Indian. And I can give you a second if you want to pause the video to try and spot the tactic, but it's very simple. It's just him playing this move with his bishop. If I capture back with my king, which I have to because I don't have any squares left, he actually ends up giving me a check here. And unless I want to bring my king right into the open, which would be a horrible idea, I'm just moving back, and he's developing his queen and winning back the piece, while in the process making me lose a pawn and making it so I had no castling rights. What ended up happening in the game, though, is he played this move, actually threatening a mate in one, and a lot of people, I think, in the lower elo would say, oh my gosh, a queen? He hung his queen? But no. As you can see, I developed my knight right here, which was a inaccuracy. And if he plays a move like this, on the next move, let's say I takes here, that's mate. My king has nowhere to go. It's pretty much smothered by the bishop and the knight. So in the game, what I ended up having to play is getting out my knight, and I'm attacking this bishop. I'm also still attacking the queen. He brings back the bishop, so his bishop's no longer under attack. And in this position, it's actually a miss. Bishop f2 would have been the best move. Okay. I think I understand that. So bishop f2. And in this position, I would have to move out of the way. I can't take. And what does he follow it up with? I'm not sure, but that does look pretty good for him. I can't believe I made that mistake. All right, getting back into it. Sorry about that. I end up taking, and this is also an inaccuracy, because what I could have done in this position, and I thought this was also a really not a hard move to find if I just took a second, but instead of if I just pawn forward, after he takes, I'm taking back, and I'm developing my queen while I'm just only in this position. I'm only helping him develop his queen. So if you're just getting into chess, a good lesson to learn is you never want to give the opposing side or your opponent the ability to win tempo or even win time, because getting your pieces out first and fast is a very important part of chess to give you the advantage. In this position, I move backwards. Computer really doesn't like that. I see that my knight's under attack, but this just was not the correct square. I also could have just pawned forward. Let's see what the computer thinks of that. Also an inaccuracy. Knight c3 is best. Okay. Makes sense. Just developed it to the wrong side of the board. He plays this move here, and he's threatening this pawn, this f2 pawn. So I have to protect it. I develop my knight. And now he's threatening to win this pawn again with his queen and put me in check and lose castling rights. And this is an inaccuracy. e3 would have been best, just pushing the pawn forward. I decide to attack the queen, though this the queen just moves backwards, and I end up kicking his knight because this knight has been pretty troublesome. He moves back. I decide to just take. He takes back with his rook. I play pawn move forward, and he checks my king here. I say, do you want to trade queens? He obliges. And I take with my knight. He develops his knight. And I finally play this move e3, which is now an inaccuracy. Knight e4 would have been best in this position, getting a tempo on the rook. He strikes in the center with his pawn. And I play c3. I'm glad that this is saying it's a good move, because in this position, I was a little bit scared of his knight coming in at, he can't come here obviously, but coming right here, and I didn't like that. He attacks the pawn with his bishop. I decide to castle here, and he doubles up his rooks. Now I see there's a lot of pressure again on this f2 pawn. I think this is kind of a just something in the game that keeps happening. Common theme in the game, I should say, is pressure on that f2 pawn. I decide, well, I can kick the bishop, and I can always develop towards the center with my pawn. But here he plays a good move, which I liked, and this kind of hinders my plan. I end up taking. Now his pawn doesn't have any pawns next to it, so I would say this makes it a little bit of a weaker pawn, but at the same time, this pawn is impossible to protect. As you can see, I still have a 2.4 advantage because my position is just, it has a lot of good moves that I can make, even though I'm going to lose this pawn. I mean, I could play a move like this, but he's just going to take like that, and then obviously it's not looking good for me. So what I end up doing in the game is giving him a check here, because for one, what I saw in this position is, let's just say that I play a move like rook here. If he ends up taking, I can't just take back right away because I'm going to lose my bishop. So in this position, what I decide to do is give him a check so I can get my bishop developed and on a square that it's not capturable after that pawn. And then I put my rook on the 7th rank, and this is a very, very good way to play, especially when we're getting towards the end of the game. Cutting off the king to this back row, not letting it be a part of it, and also being able to just munch on these pawns. He plays a good move here. It's a fork, but he's losing his pawn. And even though he's winning that back, I'm just taking his knight. And now I'm 2 pawns up. I'm feeling confident. I know he's going to win that pawn. But for some reason, he decides not to. He decides to say, hey, I'm going to guard this pawn in the center. I don't want you to take it. And this gives me the chance, because his rooks are no longer doubled, to protect my pawn. He then sees this move, which is a very good move, but I can just move back with my rook. I didn't know if we were going to repeat moves here, but I am only at 3 minutes, and I started getting a little bit worried about time. Just kind of wanted to make a move fast. Here I move my king forward, just getting off that back rank. Attacks the pawn again, and the computer actually wanted me to play rook c7, and I see why, just counterattacking his pawn. He plays this move, really good move on his part. I like it. And I play rook c7 here. He guards the pawn, and I slide my rook to the open file. I know I'm losing this pawn, but I get to put my rook on d7, and they call it the pigs on 7th because they basically eat all the pawns. That's pigs, I guess, because pigs eat a lot. It's a really weird saying in chess, but if you haven't heard that, that can be the one thing that you learn today. And he plays this move, rook h6. Good move. I decide to take, and he doesn't want to trade with me. I take the next pawn. He's putting some pressure here on the c2 pawn and doubling up the rooks. I moved backwards, which was a bad... I mean, it says that it's actually a good move, but what I thought about in this position was, why can't I just play this? I guess then I can't really... I'm locked down, but it says that it's best, though. But instead... Oh, sorry. I play this move. He attacks the pawn, but he obviously can't capture it. And I bring my pawn forward. Now I have 3 passed pawns on this side. I'm only at 2 minutes and 12 seconds, but I'm feeling really good about the game. I put my rook back on the 7th row. He takes here. Good move. I didn't see this, to be honest, that I can't capture because have my pin pawned. My pin pawned. I have my pawn pinned. My goodness. But he ends up losing his pawn, and his king is looking very open now. Moves out of the way. I check him again, and I win this pawn. Now he only has 1 pawn left, and I have 5 pawns. As you can see, those rook coming to the 7th rank, they definitely were pigs, and they ate a lot of those pawns. I give him another check here. He slides over. I start pushing my pawn. Then he attacks this pawn here. I guard it while also attacking his e4 pawn. He slides over. I take the pawn. Now he is completely out of pawns. And he sees that he can win the pawn on f2 here. I move out of the way. Wins the pawn. I start pushing, trying to trade, pushing forward. Gives me a check. Gives me another check. This is all just kind of... Oh, here what I should have seen. I remember this in the game. I saw it right afterwards. I play this move. He takes the pawn right here, and here. Yep, just mate. I thought there was a mate before that I missed, but I guess there wasn't. Good game by him. For the beginning, he had some good tactics. It was a lot of fun, though. Definitely one of my favorite games that I've played in quite a while. But Chess.com rated me 1800, rated him 1400, and I believe my accuracy, yeah, right here is the accuracy. 82.9% accuracy. He had 73. I had 23 best moves, 3 mistakes. He had 3 misses and 1 mistake. So it kind of goes back to...
You overlooked an opportunity to prepare a bishop for development.
Kind of goes back to
you
right
overlooked
here.
An opportunity to prepare a bishop for development.
Because
you permitted the opponent to
let's say he played
capturing
this move.
while sacrificing the bishop was the recaptures.
He probably would have won the game. And that is only, I think, probably the 4th or 5th move of the game. So always try and be aware of tactics, especially in the beginning. A lot of people just love to run through their moves really fast and spend no time at all. As you can see, he's only spent 6 seconds here, and I've spent 15 seconds. Always make sure if things are looking fishy, but even if they're not, just to be safe, just spend an extra little bit of time. When you're playing a rapid game, if you're playing Blitz, of course, you just gotta go with the flow in that position. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like to subscribe or leave a like, I would really appreciate that. You have a great rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for a new chess video.